Hi everyone, welcome to Drinks with Darla. This is my daughter Megan.
Hello.
And we're going to talk about endometriosis. Being as this month is endometriosis month, if I could say it right. We're going to bring a little bit of awareness to it. So what is endometriosis?
So endometriosis is when a lining that is similar, it's not the same, but it's similar to the lining inside your uterus, is that similar tissue is growing outside of your uterus, and it ultimately is like a spider web, and it kind of just clings to everything, and then it can ultimately like cement your organs together, which is what causes a lot of the pain, because like for example, for me, I found out with my endometriosis it had caused my left ovary to connect to my pelvic wall, and they're not supposed to be connected.
Scary.
So they had to separate those two things. But yeah, so that's for the most part what endometriosis
What it is. All right. How did you first hear about it?
I want to say I heard about it vaguely a long time ago, but what I heard about it was that it just caused painful periods. And then I think you might have been the first person to ever bring it up to me that you had it, and because I just thought it was painful periods, I was like, oh, I'm sorry, that really sucks.
Yeah.
And then when I finally found a doctor that would listen to me, and she brought it up, I was like, oh yeah, I definitely have painful periods. But when I started looking into it, I was like, wow, it's way more than just painful periods.
Way more intense, yeah.
It's way more than that.
Like what kind of symptoms were you having?
So many. I mean, for the last 9 years or so, I've had extremely painful periods to where my legs will go numb. The pain will be so bad my vision will get spotty, and I'll feel like I'm going to pass out or throw up. So that's always fun.
Are those some typical symptoms?
Those are pretty common. There's so many other ones, and everyone's symptoms are so different. Yeah. So
it's your body. Does your pain come and go, or is it constant?
I would say for the most part it's pretty constant, but it does flare up randomly from time to time. And I mean, some of the triggers are as random as different foods. Like, I don't have specific food allergies, but specific foods can cause it to flare up. Like some of the most common ones are gluten, dairy, and I think the other is sugar, which I love all of those.
Oh yeah, and that's your favorite. Those
yes.
Especially sugar.
Yes, I love sugar.
Okay, so you had surgery for it.
Mm-hmm.
How severe or intense was that? I know because a lot of people talk about how they've had things done. Like, when I was talking to people about having hysterectomy, oh yeah, it's great, you want to do it. But nobody tells you about the recovery part or how intense it is. So give us a little bit of detail about how severe that is and what the recovery was like.
I was actually pretty surprised. So this was my first real surgery. Aside from this, I've only ever had like my wisdom teeth taken out. So I was pretty nervous, but I, for some reason, was just very also calm about the whole thing. And it ended up being so much better than I thought. So, sorry, I just got distracted.
Sorry. The recovery was a lot simpler than you thought.
Yeah, it wasn't as bad as I thought, which is a huge blessing, because knowing that I'll have to do it again, I'm not traumatized or scared.
Yeah.
But everyone's experience is so different, and so what I did going into it was I had listened and read a lot of people's experiences with it, and so I knew kind of what to be careful of, because a lot of people, they tried going back to work immediately after. I took 2 weeks off work. Some people were saying that walking around helped, so I made sure I walked around. I took all the good advice I could, and I did all of it, and I feel like that really helped with my recovery.
That's good. What would you like to tell women out there that may be going through this?
So the tricky thing with endometriosis is that actually 1 in 10 actually have it, and a lot of people don't know they have it. They think they just have like stomach problems or just all these other issues. And I'm so sorry, I keep getting distracted.
It's
I have
okay.
a dog eating.
We have a dog eating in here at the same time, so What would you say to them that they should talk to their doctor about when they go in? If if they're having pains and stuff like that, what should they do?
So tell your doctor about all the pain you're having. The problem is doctors tend to kind of brush it off. On average, it takes about 9 to 12 years to be diagnosed with endometriosis, which is insane. Because a lot of doctors don't listen, or they aren't even fully educated. So the best thing that I have found to do is becoming part of groups of women online, like on Facebook and Instagram, who have endometriosis, and they're doing a lot of the research themselves. And I've learned more from those groups and communities of women struggling with it than I have from doctors. I mean, in the last 9 years, it took me about 9 years to be diagnosed with endometriosis, and I saw dozens of doctors, and all of them just kept throwing Band-Aid answers at me. Nobody actually helped me until this last doctor. She's the first doctor to ever say, you know what, you might have endometriosis. But yeah, so I would just say, tell your doctor if you're having any of those symptoms, and find a good doctor. Finding a good doctor is hard, especially one that will listen to you and one that is educated on endometriosis. Yeah.
So being as you had this one surgery, will you have to possibly go in and do more of them? Is that what can happen?
Yeah. So unfortunately with endometriosis, there's no cure.
Right.
There's a lot of misinformation out there that a hysterectomy will cure it or pregnancy will cure it, but there is no cure for it. There are a lot of things you can do to keep it at bay, which they recommend, like birth control, and there's a shot you can get called Lupron, which has tons of awful side effects. So I right now, because I will not do birth control or Lupron, my only other option is surgery. And so just exercising and having a better diet can help me keep it at bay, but eventually I will have to just keep doing this surgery. I mean, it's like a cancer.
Yeah.
You just have to keep getting it cut out, and then it grows back, cut out, grows back, and I'll just be dealing with that for the rest of my life until they come up with a cure.
Hopefully someday they will.
Hopefully. That would save me a lot of money.
Is there anything extra that you want to let the women out there know about this? Anything that you haven't talked about? I mean, you've talked quite about a lot of things. So.
Yeah. I would just say that don't ignore the pain. It's so common to be told that the pain you're in is normal, or you're just overreacting, but it's not. And there's a whole community out there of women who are just as frustrated because we're not getting help, which is why I'm so big on raising awareness, because, 1 in 10 women has this disease.
That's a lot.
Yes,
That's a lot.
Half of us don't even know about it.
Yeah.
We just think we have other problems, or we think we're being babies, or we just think that all this pain is normal, which is what I thought.
Yeah.
So I would just say that your pain matters, and it's don't ignore it, and it's worth talking to someone about and looking into.
All right. That's awesome. Thank you for talking to us about endometriosis. Yes. You can always check out Megan's page. It's called That Darling Life. It's really cute. Would you consider it a blog, or?
It's a blog. I don't blog very much, so it's mostly just on my Instagram, but it's just a creative outlet for me.
And I'll put a link on there as well. And then she also has a Sun Sleeper shirt on. I'm going to let her talk about that for a second as well.
So Sun Sleeper is my husband's band. They were just signed to a label last year. They've been touring a lot, and they actually leave for tour again this week for about 2.5 weeks.
All right. And what kind of music is it? I always try to tell people, and I'm like, I'm not sure what it's called.
I think in the simplest terms, it would be indie rock.
Indie rock?
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so you can check them out as well. It's called Sun Sleeper. So we're going to let you go for now. And again, thank you so much for being a part of this. And hopefully, this will help somebody else that is going through all these pains and issues and not sure what they should say to their doctor or talk about. But, get out there and talk to your OBGYN. Take care of it.
Yeah, don't ignore it.
Yeah, don't ignore it. All right, so till this next week, go through what you go through. Bye, everybody.